Have you ever wondered why some people seem to walk through life as perpetual outsiders, carrying an invisible weight that others cannot see or understand? There exists a profound truth about those who never quite fit in, a truth so powerful that it has shaped destinies and transformed ordinary individuals into legends. Today, we discover this truth through the extraordinary life and teachings of Minamoto no Yoshitsune, a 12th century Japanese warrior philosopher whose understanding of the outsider's path revolutionized how we see our own struggles with belonging. What Yoshitsune understood about the nature of not fitting in will fundamentally change how you view your own journey and unlock a hidden strength you never knew you possessed. Before we dive deep into this life-changing wisdom, I need you to do something important right now. Hit that like button if you've ever felt like you don't quite belong anywhere. Subscribe to this channel because we're building a community of people who understand this struggle. And most importantly, comment below with the phrase, "I see my strength," because I want to know that you're ready to discover the hidden power in your difference. Yoshitsune's story begins not with glory, but with the raw pain of abandonment and exile that will resonate deeply with anyone who has ever felt cast aside by the world. Born into the prestigious Minamoto clan, young Yoshitsune lost everything when he was barely 10 years old during a violent political upheaval that destroyed his family and left him completely alone in a hostile world. Cast out from his noble birthright and sent to live among monks in a remote mountain temple, the boy who would become one of Japan's greatest legends experienced the crushing isolation that defines the outsider's journey. The monks who raised him saw something different in this child, something that both attracted and unsettled them. While other children played together and formed easy friendships, Yoshitsune spent his days in solitary training, developing skills that seemed to emerge from some deep inner source rather than conventional teaching. He moved differently, thought differently, approached every challenge from angles that others couldn't comprehend. The other students whispered about his strangeness, his intensity, the way he seemed to exist in a world parallel to theirs, but never truly intersecting with it. This experience of fundamental difference, of being simultaneously among others yet utterly alone, became the foundation of Yoshitsune's revolutionary understanding of human nature and the hidden gifts that come disguised as curses. What most people fail to realize about those who never fit in is that their inability to conform isn't a weakness or a flaw to be corrected, but rather a sign of possessing capabilities that transcend ordinary limitations. Yoshitsune discovered that the very qualities that made him an outsider, his refusal to accept conventional wisdom, his willingness to question authority, his ability to see solutions where others saw only problems, were not obstacles to overcome, but powers to be cultivated and unleashed upon a world that desperately needed what only he could provide. During his years of exile and training, Yoshitsune developed what he called the philosophy of the necessary outsider, the understanding that certain individuals are meant to exist on the margins not because they are defective, but because they are designed to serve as bridges between what is and what could be. I want to pause here and speak directly to those of you watching this who have spent years wondering if something is wrong with you, because you can't seem to fit into the boxes that society has created. Yoshitsune's teachings reveal that your struggle to conform isn't evidence of your inadequacy, but proof of your extraordinary potential. Let me ask you something, and I want you to really think about this before answering in the comments. Have you ever had the experience of seeing a solution to a problem that everyone else missed, only to have your ideas dismissed because they didn't follow conventional thinking? Have you ever felt like you were speaking a different language even when using the same words as everyone else? If this resonates with you, comment below, "I speak a different language," because Yoshitsune understood that this apparent disadvantage is actually the source of your greatest strength. The cruel truth that Yoshitsune uncovered is that those who never fit in are not meant to fit in, because fitting in would destroy the very qualities that make them capable of extraordinary achievement. Consider how Yoshitsune's own military genius emerged not from following traditional strategies taught in war academies, but from his willingness to approach conflict from completely unexpected angles. When conventional commanders moved their armies across predictable routes and employed tactics that had been used for centuries, Yoshitsune would appear from impossible directions, strike where the enemy least expected, and achieve victories that defied all established military wisdom. His famous victory at the Battle of Ichi-no-Tani, where he led a cavalry charge down a seemingly impossible cliff face to attack the enemy from behind, exemplifies the power that comes from thinking outside the accepted patterns. But here's the deeper lesson that applies directly to your life today. Yoshitsune's success wasn't just about military tactics. It was about embracing a fundamental principle that governs how outsiders can transform their apparent weakness into unstoppable strength. He understood that while those who fit in are constrained by the expectations and limitations of their social groups, those who don't fit in are free to discover capabilities that exist beyond conventional boundaries. In your personal life, this means recognizing that your difficulty in forming superficial relationships might be because you're designed for deeper, more meaningful connections. Your struggle to enjoy small talk isn't a social deficiency. It's a sign that your mind is oriented towards substantial conversations that actually matter. Your discomfort with following trends and popular opinions isn't stubbornness. It's an indication that you possess the rare courage to think independently and develop your own understanding of truth. In your professional life, Yoshitsune's teachings suggest that your career challenges might stem from trying to force yourself into roles that were designed for people with fundamentally different operating systems than yours. The qualities that make you a poor employee following someone else's vision might be exactly what makes you an exceptional entrepreneur, artist, innovator, or leader, creating something entirely new. Your impatience with bureaucracy and meaningless procedures isn't a character flaw. It's your inner genius rebelling against systems that waste your potential. In your relationships, understanding Yoshitsune's philosophy means recognizing that your small circle of deep friendships is not evidence of social failure, but proof that you attract and maintain connections based on authenticity rather than convenience. While others might have hundreds of acquaintances, you develop bonds that can withstand any challenge because they're built on genuine understanding and mutual respect for each other's true nature. The loneliness you sometimes feel isn't because you're inadequate at human connection. It's because you refuse to settle for the shallow relationships that satisfy people who are content with surface-level interaction. Yoshitsune also understood that the outsider's journey involves a particular kind of suffering that those who easily fit in can never fully comprehend. There's a profound pain in constantly feeling misunderstood, in having your gifts dismissed or overlooked, in watching people with less capability advance more easily through systems that reward conformity over excellence. But here's the transformative insight that changed everything for Yoshitsune, and can change everything for you. This suffering isn't meaningless. It's the fire that forges exceptional character and unshakable determination. Every moment of feeling different, every experience of being excluded or underestimated, every instance where you had to find your own way because no one understood your path, has been building something inside you that cannot be broken. You've been developing mental and emotional muscles that most people never even know exist. You've been learning to trust your own judgment in a world that constantly tells you to defer to others. You've been cultivating the courage to stand alone when necessary, the wisdom to see what others miss, and the strength to pursue your vision, even when no one believes in it. This is why Yoshitsune called those who don't fit in the necessary ones. Society needs people who can see beyond its current limitations, who can question its assumptions, who can imagine and create solutions that don't yet exist. The very qualities that make you feel like an outsider are the qualities that enable you to serve as a bridge between the world as it is and the world as it could become. But here's the crucial part that many people miss. Embracing your nature as someone who doesn't fit in isn't about becoming arrogant or dismissive of others. Yoshitsune emphasized that true strength comes from understanding your unique role without losing compassion for those who operate differently. Your gift isn't that you're better than people who fit in easily. Your gift is that you're designed to contribute something that they cannot. Their gifts complement yours, and yours complement theirs. But you must first accept and develop your own before you can offer it effectively to the world. The practical application of Yoshitsune's teachings begins with a fundamental shift in how you interpret your experiences of not fitting in. Instead of seeing these experiences as evidence that something is wrong with you, begin to see them as confirmation that you possess capabilities that extend beyond ordinary parameters. When you feel uncomfortable in social situations that everyone else seems to enjoy, instead of forcing yourself to fake enthusiasm, use that discomfort as information about what truly energizes you and seek out environments that match your authentic interests. When your ideas are met with resistance or confusion, instead of abandoning them to gain acceptance, view that resistance as a sign that you're thinking beyond current limitations, and persist in developing your insights until you can communicate them in ways that others can understand and benefit from. When you find yourself naturally gravitating towards solitary activities that restore and inspire you, embrace those preferences instead of feeling guilty about not being more socially active. Yoshitsune spent countless hours alone in contemplation and practice, and those solitary periods were not escapes from life, but preparations for the extraordinary contributions he would make when the time was right. The relationship between solitude and achievement isn't coincidental, it's causal. Those who don't fit in often require more time alone to process their experiences, develop their insights, and gather the energy needed to operate in a world that doesn't naturally accommodate their way of being. This isn't antisocial behavior, it's intelligent self-management. As you begin to implement these insights, you'll notice that your relationship with yourself starts to change. Instead of constantly trying to fix or change your basic nature, you'll begin to work with it and discover what becomes possible when you stop fighting against your own design. You'll find that your sensitivity, which you may have seen as a burden, is actually a sophisticated information-gathering system that allows you to perceive nuances that others miss. Your tendency to think deeply about everything, which you may have experienced as overthinking, is actually your mind's way of extracting maximum learning and insight from every experience. Your discomfort with superficiality, which you may have seen as social awkwardness, is actually your inner wisdom protecting you from relationships and activities that would drain your energy without providing genuine nourishment. There's another layer to Yoshitsune's wisdom that goes even deeper into the psychology of the outsider. He observed that those who don't fit in often possess what he called the gift of seeing beneath surfaces. While others are content to accept things as they appear, outsiders have an almost compulsive need to understand the underlying patterns, motivations, and connections that govern situations. This quality can feel like a curse when you're constantly seeing dysfunction and dishonesty that others either don't notice or choose to ignore. But it's actually a superpower that enables you to navigate life with a level of awareness and wisdom that protects you from many of the traps that ensnare others. Yoshitsune also recognized that outsiders often serve as catalysts for growth and change in the lives of those around them. Your refusal to participate in meaningless social rituals forces others to examine what they're really doing and why. Your questions about accepted practices make people think more deeply about their choices. Your commitment to authenticity gives others permission to drop their masks and be more real. You might not always be popular, but you're always having a positive impact on the consciousness and development of everyone who encounters you. This is particularly important to understand when you're feeling discouraged about your social life, or wondering if you should try harder to fit in. The people who are meant to be in your life will appreciate your depth and authenticity, even if it takes them some time to adjust to your intensity. The people who reject you for being yourself are doing you a favor by removing themselves from your path, so you can focus your energy on relationships that have the potential to be genuinely fulfilling. Yoshitsune discovered that one of the greatest gifts of the outsider is the development of what he called inner authority. Because you can't rely on external validation or social approval for your sense of worth and direction, you're forced to develop an internal compass that guides you based on your own values and understanding. This inner authority becomes unshakable over time because it's based on your direct experience of truth, rather than what others have told you to believe. While people who fit in easily often struggle with decision-making because they're always checking what others think, you develop the ability to know what's right for you without needing consensus or approval. The financial and career implications of embracing your outsider nature are particularly significant in our modern economy. Yoshitsune lived in an era when success was largely determined by your ability to fit into established hierarchies and follow traditional paths. Today, we live in an economy that increasingly rewards innovation, creativity, and the ability to solve problems in new ways. The very qualities that made you unemployable in traditional structures make you invaluable in fields that require original thinking and the courage to challenge established methods. Your discomfort with corporate politics and office dynamics might be exactly what qualifies you for entrepreneurship or consulting work, where your independence and fresh perspective are assets rather than liabilities. Your tendency to see connections that others miss makes you naturally suited for roles in strategy, analysis, design, or any field that requires synthesis of complex information. Your unwillingness to accept "that's just how we do things" as an answer makes you an ideal candidate for roles involving process improvement, innovation, or transformation initiatives. The key is to stop trying to force yourself into roles designed for people who think and operate differently, and instead seek opportunities that require exactly the qualities that make you an outsider. But perhaps the most profound aspect of Yoshitsune's teaching about outsiders involves what he called the sacred responsibility of the different. He understood that when you possess capabilities that others don't have, You also carry an obligation to use those capabilities in service of something greater than your personal comfort or success. Your ability to see what others can't see comes with the responsibility to speak truth even when it's uncomfortable. Your capacity to think beyond current limitations comes with the obligation to propose solutions even when they're initially rejected. Your strength to stand alone comes with the duty to protect and advocate for those who cannot protect themselves. This doesn't mean you have to become a crusader or activist, but it does mean recognizing that your difference isn't just about you. The world needs what you have to offer, and withholding your gifts because you're afraid of standing out or being criticized is actually a form of selfishness that deprives others of what they need to grow and evolve. Yoshitsune's own life exemplifies this principle. He could have used his exceptional abilities purely for personal advancement, but instead, he chose to use them in service of a vision of justice and social transformation that was larger than himself. Even when his commitment to doing what was right put him in conflict with his own family and ultimately led to his downfall, he never compromised his principles for the sake of fitting in or gaining approval. This brings us to one of the most challenging aspects of living as an outsider that Yoshitsune addressed directly in his teachings. There will be times when your commitment to authenticity and truth puts you at odds with people you care about, including family members, friends, and colleagues who don't understand why you can't just go along with things that seem harmless to them. These moments test your resolve and force you to choose between maintaining your integrity and keeping the peace. Yoshitsune taught that these conflicts are not signs that you're being difficult or stubborn. They're indicators that you're growing into the fullness of your authentic power, and that growth inevitably involves some temporary disruption of old patterns and relationships. The people who truly belong in your life will eventually come to respect and value your commitment to truth even if they don't always understand it. Those who cannot accept your authentic self will gradually distance themselves, making room for new connections that are based on who you really are rather than who others think you should be. As we reach the conclusion of this exploration into Yoshitsune's profound wisdom about the outsider's path, it's crucial to understand that everything we've discussed represents not just interesting ideas to consider, but a complete reframing of your identity and purpose that can transform every aspect of your life. The realization that your difference is not a flaw to be fixed, but a strength to be developed, changes everything about how you approach relationships, career decisions, personal growth, and your contribution to the world. You no longer need to exhaust yourself trying to fit into spaces that were never designed for you. Instead, you can focus your energy on finding and creating environments where your unique gifts are not just tolerated, but celebrated and utilized. You no longer need to apologize for your intensity, your high standards, or your unwillingness to participate in activities that feel meaningless to you. Instead, you can embrace these qualities as indicators of your sophisticated inner guidance system and your commitment to living a life of substance and authenticity. Most importantly, you no longer need to see your struggles with belonging as evidence of personal failure. Instead, you can understand them as the necessary growing pains of someone who is being prepared to make contributions that extend far beyond what conventional people can offer. The loneliness, the misunderstanding, the rejection, the periods of doubt and confusion. All of these experiences have been developing qualities within you that cannot be acquired through easy success or social acceptance. If this message has resonated with something deep inside you, if you've felt a sense of coming home to yourself as we've explored these teachings together, then you're ready to join a community of people who understand that being different isn't a curse but a calling. Subscribe to this channel and hit that notification bell because we're creating something special here. A space where the insights and support you need to thrive as an authentic outsider are shared regularly. But more than just subscribing, I want you to take action right now by commenting below about the specific change you're going to make in your life, based on what you've learned today. Are you going to stop trying to force friendships that feel draining and instead invest in the few relationships that actually nourish your soul? Are you going to quit the job that requires you to suppress your best qualities and pursue work that allows you to use your unique abilities? Are you going to embrace your need for solitude as essential preparation time rather than social failure? Whatever commitment you're making, share it in the comments because your courage to live authentically gives others permission to do the same. Remember, the cruel truth about those who never fit in is also the beautiful truth. You were never meant to fit in because the world needs you to stand apart, think differently, and contribute something that can only come from your unique perspective and experience. Your journey as an outsider isn't an accident or misfortune. It's your assignment, and Yoshitsune's wisdom gives you everything you need to fulfill that assignment with strength, purpose, and profound impact on every life you touch.